Hey everyone, so today is Groundhog Day and it looks like we're gonna have an early spring, but that doesn't stop Texas because it's nice and warm right now. It's supposed to be 60s. It feels more like a nice, cool, breezy 70. It hasn't really got too cool here. We have a long growing season and that's what we're excited about here. So I did want to talk a little bit about what we are up to right now, and that is trying to get the lay of the land, researching what we want to do with this garden here and what we want to plant here. And one of those things that we've done to prepare is actually go to our local garden centers and talk to some of the people. More often than not, you'll find that they have seminars, which is the case that I will be talking about today. There was a Dr. Larry Stein from the Texas AgriLife Extension Program where they did a talk about planting trees. And that's one of the big things here in Texas is fruit trees and other types of trees that you put in the ground here. And he goes into a pretty good talk about pruning and, you know, what to do and things like that. So I have a couple of clips that I'm going to insert here. But again, just want to talk about, the planning here and what we're actually doing. And, to give you guys some ideas, like if you're stuck in a rut, you don't know what to plant, if you're new to an area as well, or you just want to get out and speak to like-minded people about gardening, definitely look for these things at your local garden center. Some seminars that they give, free talks. Sometimes they'll throw in, a percentage off for just attending on certain things. All right, so I'm going to throw in about 3 different clips here. The first one being cutting back trees when you plant them. Again, this is Dr. Larry Stein from the Texas AgriLife Extension Program, giving his little spew about cutting back trees when you put them in the ground.
What can you do then? I have sandy loam soil. We've got 4 peach trees, a pear, and a plum. Now,
when did you plant
them? Month and a half ago.
Okay, she planted her trees a month and a half ago. She didn't cut them back. So what you do is you go home from today and you cut them back. No problem.
Okay.
What about 5 years? If you planted them 5 years ago, they've either lived or died. We're assuming they lived. You just start on the pruning program that we're going to talk about.
That question, when you get a ball inside the container, do you unfurl that ball? Do you trim that ball back? How do you address that?
Good question. His question is, when you take a container tree out, that's all a ball of roots. Do you work it apart? Do you cut it? What do? You cut it, work it apart. Yeah, that's why we want to plant container trees now, so that we can do all that. We couldn't do that during the growing season.
All right, so as you can see there, quite a bit of turnout. It was absolutely fun to go out there and, listen to him speak. These people have lots of knowledge when it comes to your local area and what to plant, what not to plant. But again, that was a great talk. I don't know how much we're actually going to do when it comes to your fruit trees. We may do some in containers. I do have figs that I do want to put maybe 2 or 3 in the ground. So that's a very good seminar that I went to learn a little bit about some of that stuff. All right, so the second clip here, he's going to be talking about not being afraid to cut out any dead wood from your fruit trees, or really any tree for that matter when it comes to ornamentals as well. You can't be afraid to cut out any dead wood, but he talks a little bit about cutting out that dead wood to give that tree room to grow as well. And also talking about, when you seal some cuts, just a little quick spew in there. And, and not to be afraid to basically start over. Your tree's not doing good, just cut back all the dead and start over. It might just need a refreshing.
We do commercially. You have all this stuff that happens commercially. And realize you can carry a lot of fruit in the center of the tree. It will hold me. It will hold me, but you can't stand out here. So you want to leave a lot of limbs in the middle. Now, notice this tree. It doesn't look so hot, right? Doesn't have a lot of growth. And if you look at some of this, you're looking for redwood, and we have some redwood, but we have a lot of deadwood in here. A lot of deadwood in this tree. And so what we need to do is we need to see where it's dead and alive, and that's dead, this is dead, that's dead, this is dead. So do you have my little saw? So saw this limb off. This is great. I just get the point. So, and this is not uncommon. Trees will reject this side. This. They will come back, and so this one we just need to get the dead stuff back out And we may be starting over on this tree as well. We have some green right there.
Can you put potash around it?
Question is, do you put potash around it for cold protection, you think? I was told, typically we don't put potash, or you're talking about ashes or potash?
Well, burning wood.
Burning wood, yeah. So a priests don't lie. Priests don't lie. He told me one time you put wood ashes around the tree and you'll never have borers. I don't know if he's right or wrong. I've done it. So anyway, no data to suggest that's right. So this limb is dead too.
Oh, wow.
Quick question is, do we seal the bigger branches? And the answer is no. They will heal faster without the paint than they do with the paint. And so we have another limb here that's dead. And so we're just going to bring it back to see what we get live.
All right, and the last and final clip has to do with plums and peaches and how they basically grow here, because you know this is Texas, and you want to know what grows well and what doesn't grow well. And you know, and it's a little bit of a longer clip, but I threw it in there because there's a lot of talk going on, and this just shows, you know, how great like-minded people get together and have conversations. Some people just have really great questions. Sometimes you might think maybe that's not a great question to ask, but you know, it's always a good question to ask, because if you don't know, you don't know, and other people might not know, and they're just afraid to ask. So, you know, ask your questions. But I'm gonna throw this last one in here next.
This is a plum tree. And we somewhat prune plums like peaches. I have come to prune plums a little bit less than I do peach trees. Peach trees, you want to take 60% of the wood that grew the last year off this year. 60%. 60% of the wood that grew in 2023 should come off in 2024. And by doing that, you reduce the crop load and you stimulate wood for next year's crop. Plums, on the other hand, I think we're looking at maybe 20%. Plums, it takes them longer to come into production, and they also fruit on these little short shoots called spurs. You see these little short shoots in here? You have the long ones, but then you have the little bitty ones in here. And it's the little bitty ones here that have the flower buds. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take off these water sprouts. See how long that one goes way up in there? We're going to take it off. We're going to take this one off. Here's another one over here. And then see how that one crosses in the middle right here? This one right here. So we're going to take it off right there. This one here put on a water sprout, so we're going to take it off right here. Kind of coming to the middle. But the objective is to take some of the wood off, not a whole lot of the wood off, and maintain those spurs in there, since it takes them longer to come into production. It's not uncommon to have a plum tree bloom 4 or 5 years and not make any plums. And everybody gets frustrated, and they call you up and say, well, what am I doing wrong? And you're not doing anything wrong, it's just the nature of the tree. And so we've started to take less wood off of these trees, hoping that they will fruit a little bit sooner.
Do we need 2 plums?
Question is, do you need 2 plums? It depends on which plum you plant. If you plant a Bruce plum, you need 2. Bruce plum is a red plum, it's a really good plum. We need to recommend it more. But
So I'm trying to clean it up because, like back here on this tree that you said you cut 2 little branches that you did not want them to dominate. So how do we know which ones to want them to dominate?
okay, her question is about the 4-in-1 tree, the fruit cocktail tree. She said, how do we know which ones we don't want to dominate? And so you have to mark each of the varieties. You have to mark the peach, the apricot, the plum, and then you have to keep them all. When we go back, there's a big tree over there beside that house. Joanne's tree over there. We pruned it 2 years ago, but it's one of those. And so you might take a quick look at that one as well. And if she can grow it, anyone can. That's what Mike said yesterday. He did say that.
So
He
now,
did say
forgive me, sir, on the peaches, you were talking about the redwood
Yes.
being the new growth, that on this one you're pruning everything off that looks red.
Good question. So his question is, a while ago I said, we want the redwood on the peach tree, and he says, you're pruning it all off over here. So you don't follow your directions very well, is what he said.
Not all stone fruit is universal.
So this one fruits on spurs as well, and these are growing really strong, and so what we're trying to do is promote these and not get these shaded out. So we're after the spurs in this particular case. And then we're going to take these out, coming back to the middle a little bit, is what we're going to do. And so we're going to maintain kind of an open center. You see how these are coming back to the center. If you will prune a branch to a branch headed out, you see how that one's headed out? So you take it off like that. Over here you got some coming to the middle, so we'll take it off here.
So what is the lifespan of a spur for getting fruit?
What is the lifespan of a spur for giving fruit? So that spur, those spurs will last 2-3 years, or until you break them off, they may last longer. A lot of times when you're picking, you're going to break some off. So we're headed this way right here with this one. Right here, we're headed out with this one. See this one coming out? Over here, let's take this out. And up here you have two together. You'll see how you have two together. One of those has to come out. So we're going to do this. We're going to take all three of them out and leave just one. And then we'll do this right here. And then this one's going back to the center. We'll take it out. That one's too big.
You want to keep them short like a peach, where you don't need a ladder and let these grow tall?
Question is, do we keep it down? Yeah, we don't want it to be much taller than this right here. So this looks pretty good. We've left a lot of little spurs. And notice, what does this kind of tell you? You know, peach kind of hurting, peach dead, peach dead, peach dead, plum, and alive.
And the water's right here.
And the water. Maybe it got a little bit more water, but what my conversation was is peaches are a little bit more tolerant than, plums more tolerant, as well as pear. Pear looks really, really good. I passed a pear going to Bandera yesterday that's probably 100 years old, and it's just out in the pasture. Big old nice tree. All right, so we want to go ahead.
Is there on your website? Is there a proper way to prune? Because right now it's just like, hey, he just cut.
Question is, on the website, is there a proper way to prune? In our fact sheet, we outline the pruning deal, illustration.
It's like, hey, he just cut.
Right. So what you're saying is we need a YouTube video on how to do this.
Yeah.
But basically what we're doing, open center, but leave the spurs. Leave the spurs is what we're doing. So we're going to go to this pear tree first, and then we're going to go to that pear tree, and then we're going to walk down. We got to do the grape, so we're going to go. Yeah, we'll do
I
it.
have a clarifying question about the split bark.
Okay.
If our trees have split bark, do we dig them up, or could they still be alive?
All right. So her question is about the split bark. So is it like on these trees?
Similar?
Small peach.
Very similar to this. You can see the wood.
Yeah.
If you see the wood, they're dead. Now, if it's just, the only way plants can grow is they slough the outer bark. If you can't see the wood, you're okay. But if you see the wood, not good.
And that's pretty much it, guys. Just a quick video. It's probably like 10 minutes long because I know some of these videos, these clips in there did run quite a bit, but I threw them in there because I absolutely enjoyed going to it. It's great, like I said, to talk to other gardeners and see what other people are planting, see what their ideas are, and just a little tips and tricks that are thrown in there. And then to have a person like Dr. Larry Stein talking to people and answering questions back and forward, it's just great because you get to get some answers to some questions that you might have. And so it's just exciting. And it's also to show a lot of support to your local garden centers. This is the garden center that I went to was Fanix Garden Center. And I absolutely love Fanix Garden Center. I got to meet the owner there, did a little bit of talk. We're actually going to be be getting our Spoma products from there, because they do carry some of Spoma products. And I know that's one of the things you guys asked, is where do you get your Spoma products? It's just one of those things where you have to actually look around for it and see who's actually carrying it. More likely than not, some local garden centers are going to be carrying some of Spoma, not the bigger box stores, but some of the local garden centers. And it's always great to support those local garden centers, especially when you have seminars like this. You get people to come out, and hopefully we can do more to have people come out to these garden centers to show more support, because it's just great to be able to, you know, sit around with a bunch of people and talk about what they have going on in their garden, maybe grab some ideas from here and there, and then, you know, the professionals as well answer some of those questions. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, I know you guys are probably wondering where Angie is, but when we got here, we didn't want to hit the ground running. We wanted to take our time, understand what we're doing here, and didn't want to start doing a whole bunch of videos on just random stuff, because it's not what we're trying to do. We're actually trying to get the lay of the land, figure out what's going on in the garden. Hopefully we bring some great content to you guys and start doing some great things, because again, it's going to be an early spring. The weather is nice right now. We're going to get some seedlings done soon, start planting out the kitchen garden, possibly some other landscaping out here. So we're excited to get all that going. But to stay up to date on most of the stuff, Angie's constantly posting on Instagram, Facebook. She even got us on TikTok now. I think we're on X, formerly known as Twitter. We put some stuff out there as well. But if you ever got any questions, drop us a comment or a direct message on any one of those platforms, and, you know, we'll try our best to answer it. But again, hope you guys enjoyed this. Just a quick video on, you know, supporting basically your local garden centers, and when they do classes like this, you'll get a lot of knowledge out of it. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in the next one.